happy Mother's Day to the few of the mothers that are in here, I know. And yeah, so a day late. And Elizabeth hopefully took care of your mom yesterday. Did you take care of her?
Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome. Because none of you would be here without her, right, Isaac? That's right. That's right. All right. So with that being said, let's just jump into a couple of things. So by the way, let me say this. They're not necessarily going to get you guys in any of the stuff, but it's more so just where I can get some photos. We're doing a new website. I'm going to do some things with this book. We're going to do some video. We're going to do some still photos and things like that. So these guys are with a company by the name of Chase Marketing. If you've ever heard of those, they've been around for how long? A long time. 30 years. That's it. Almost like a real job, like a real company. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Okay. So with that being said, this is the thing I've been thinking about the most, and it is this. And I think it applies to every single person. I have to tell you, I've been thinking about it a lot. You know, when I think about Jason, I think about, you know what, you and Melissa, 15 years. I was reflecting on Gretchen, the fact that today is 16 years. I have to tell you, I've been thinking about, just as I've been spending time, and I was watching Bella this morning and seeing her get ready, and she was sitting there at the kitchen table. I said, hey, you just come with me. I'm going to pass your school. She's like, I'm not leaving this early. I said, how early are you leaving by going with me? And she said, 4 minutes. No, I'm not going. And so she hung out and waited for Ethan to go 4 minutes later so that she didn't have to waste any additional time at high school. So with that being said, I've been thinking about a lot of stuff, and that is this one word, and it has you know, a lot of meaning to some people. Gosh, it has a lot of religious meaning, can have political meanings. It can have meanings in regards to your business. And of course, specifically, what I want you to think about when you look at the word vision, what do you really think about? Then I want to move this. I want to just point into some words here. What do you see? Right? What do you picture? What do you imagine? I want you to just think about that for a minute. What is it that you see? What is it that you imagine? What is it that you picture? Now, one of the great stewardships that we have in our own personal lives is that in our personal lives, we need to cast a vision. We need to imagine. We need to be able to see. We need to be able to observe in regards to our own lives. But we have even a deeper stewardship in regards to this business. And that is, what is the vision? And what is it that you allow people to see in your presence when it comes to whether it's selling something, doing something, having something, accomplishing something? I don't care whether it's, you know, Jeff, I don't care whether it's Brody or Kenzie. I don't care whether it's a client, one of your first clients, Jordan. It doesn't matter whether it's Isaac, one of your sellers. What vision are you really casting out for people to be able to see? And so as I've moved through my career, what I've become to realize, here I am, you know, 51 years old, 52 here in a week or so. And I was thinking, man, what is the vision that I have for my own life? What is the vision that I'm casting for the people I have love for, stewardship for? What is it that I'm really casting out there? So there's some key things I want you to think about when it comes to vision. I want you to think about a couple of things. Number one, write this down. And Jason, I know in the last, let's see here, we've been together, I guess it would be coming up on 14 years in the next month or so, right? So we're going on 14 years together. And in the last 14 years, I'm certain he's heard a few of these things, but this is a good reminder because learning is remembering. And here's the reminder. When we have a vision, and I know we often talk about this vision in relationship to, you know, what do we want to do from the standpoint of our accomplishments and our goals and our dreams? But there's a vision that has to do with this, and that is it has to be better off than before. Now, that may seem like simple. If we want to be effective at casting a vision, I say effective because sometimes we'll have visions of how bad things could be, how wrong they could be, how terrible they are. You guys see it. We see everything. Whoever we are, we see it. And in relationship to whether it's better off than before has so much to do with what we begin to see, picture, and imagine when we move through this process of vision. So just ask yourself, is the vision that you have, and Jordan, what were you doing before real estate, or what have you been doing?
Funeral director.
Okay. Well, then we're hoping it's going to be better off than before, right? I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is that life will be better because of the vision that you have. And sometimes we don't realize that. Sometimes we'll have a vision and we have clarity as to how bad it's going to be, how wrong it's going to be, how tough it's going to be, how difficult it's going to be. And in fairness, one of the things that really caught my attention years ago was this, is that when you look at those who came to America way, way, way back, I'm talking in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, why did they come here? Kelly, why did they show up? What were they trying to do? As a general statement, I'm not talking the Christopher Columbuses, I'm talking the groups and the migration of people from Europe and such. Why did they come?
For a better life.
A better life, right? But in which way? Give me some examples. A better life, which way? Religiously, right? They wanted they wanted the ability to worship how they chose to. What else did they want?
Provide
economic freedoms, right? They wanted economic freedom. So meaning it was going to, I mean, here's the key point. It was going to be better. And that's the thing that's really important about a great vision is when you have a great vision, you think, okay, religiously, I'm going to be free. Economically, I'm going to be free. I'm going to own land of promise, land of opportunity. Everything's going to be better. And then all of a sudden they show up on what you might call the Mayflower. And all of a sudden things got really, really hard. There was people, of course, that got scurvy or died and were thrown overboard. I mean, you name it. All the difficulty and all the challenge began to occur. So the second thing I've realized over the years is that there's always a sacrifice. There's always a sacrifice for something extraordinary, right? They had to sacrifice where they live, sacrifice loved ones they may never see again. They had to sacrifice going across the ocean where maybe half of them didn't even show up on the coast, the East Coast. So everything required a sacrifice. So if you want something great, there's always going to be some level of sacrifice. But here's the interesting thing about sacrifice. And man, this really, when I started really thinking about this, I started to realize that, hold on a second here. Every sacrifice that I make is temporary. I don't care how hard it was, how difficult it was. And so sometimes we think, oh goodness, I'm going to have to, you mean I have this vision of what I want my life to look like, and you're telling me it's going to be forever that I have to prospect like this, knock doors like this, sacrifice like this? And somehow within our psychology, we start to believe that every little sacrifice is going to be what? Permanent. And the reality, it's just not. The sacrifices are not permanent. And when we start to recognize that the sacrifices aren't permanent, well, wait a second. What if we cast a vision for ourselves that is absolutely crystal clear? What if all of a sudden we recognize there's a sacrifice that we have to make? There's some restrictions, disciplines that we have to put in place. And what if we begin to realize that, wait a second, most of it's temporary? Well, then what? Well, then we start realizing that we might want to do this, and that is expand our vision, expand the way that it looks. And here's the key about expanding your vision. If you want to have a vision of whether it's leading a team, whether it's leading other clients, whether it's leading your family, your children, your spouse, your significant other, your partner, you want to expand that, then the thing is it has to be bigger than you. And that's the key. See, I've been very fortunate to have a big enough vision where I do have people like Jay or Ruby or Jason, or even my own daughter now who's in the business, or Isaac, and is that it has to be bigger than you. Now, here's the opposite of that. Guys, I really kind of changed and tweaked my vision just a little bit. One of my dearest and still closest friends, and will be forever, is a gentleman by the name of Sam Bell. And Sam Bell is still, I mean, almost, man, it might be every other day I'm still texting, talking with Sam. But I changed a little bit of the vision of Everest. I changed the fact that, wait a second here, I'm not willing to go out and do mergers, acquisitions, M&As, and bring all of these other companies together. And I kind of raised my hand and said, whoa, hold on, time out. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something different. I want to make sure that tomorrow or Wednesday night at 6 p.m. I'm at my daughter's little golf banquet. I want to make sure that almost every evening, we were just joking about this or talking about it, that in the last 10 days, I think we've only missed one day of golf together in the evenings. You say, well, is that a big deal to me? And so all of a sudden I shifted my vision of what I saw, what I pictured, what I imagined, and I changed the vision and it made it different. Well, guess what? The vision of Sam was, I want to still go do mergers, acquisitions, M&As. I want to be traveling. Now he's in a different stage of life. Both of his kids are or one's graduating this next week. And he's in a different space in life. And so when I changed my vision, it actually got a little smaller in this arena. What did I do? The owner of Century 21 Affiliated, one of my dear friends, known him for 10 years. He was sitting in my office getting my permission as to whether I was okay with Sam going and helping him do mergers and acquisitions. I was like, yes, of course I am. Because I'm never going to stop someone from living their vision, nor should you. So just remember that if you want to assimilate, you want to bring people around you, then the thing is you have to have a big enough vision. That vision has to be able to include them in the mixture of that vision. And if you forget about that, then you'll just be on your own little mission, own little vision, and you won't recognize the importance of including as many as you can along your way, which is a heck of a lot more fun as you do that. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, Jay, please.
Will you remind me of the, I have several minutes of art, but one thing I have found is when you're going through the sacrifice, thinking it's permanent, the thing that helps keep me going through, one is being at this company, whether I see you or not, being here. And then the other thing is what you taught us for years, what we read, who we associate with, what we're listening to, what we allow to influence, because if I'm not being inspired by my environment, then the sacrifice seems painful and it seems permanent. But being risen like this meeting, it makes it temporary and understand that it's only for a season.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, well, one of the things I think is so fun is that you start recognizing the game that the vision is. And you know this, you've been doing this long enough. I mean, in fairness, you have enough life's experience, if you would say. And I love, like, Elizabeth walks in, he goes, I'm so excited it's Monday. I don't know about how many of you were so excited. You might have, Jordan, been excited. Were you excited it's Monday?
Yes.
All right, Kelly, were you excited it was Monday?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I wasn't, just so you know. I was not excited about it. I was thinking, let's get day number 11 of golf in. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, right? I mean, the thing is that how quickly, Jay, it is to be able to quickly change where we put our focus. And that's the one thing I've realized as I've been thinking about just, I guess you could even say a little bit of mortality to life, right? I mean, you know, we are all are so strong. And we have so much ability, and then so quickly we can see how fragile we are, and yet how quickly life can change as to where we not only we could have a health issue, we could have a loss of someone in our lives, we could have, you know, a business situation, we could have deals fall apart, we could have deals come together. It's crazy how fast life can change on us. And the thing that is so fun about this is that you have the choice. I know I talk about this a lot, but man, if we remind ourselves that we have we have complete control where we choose to focus. It's entirely your decision. And so how quickly, what I can find is why Mondays are, you know, motivational Mondays, why Mondays are so important to me is because I don't want to forget where I'm going. I haven't put this last thing I want to put up here, but it's a great reminder. Let's just put up here now that decisions, anything you decide, right? And I've always appreciated this, and some of you have certainly heard this. Just a good reminder for all of us. But when we make a decision, right, the root of that is incision, which means to cut or cut off. And some of you I know haven't heard this in here. And then the word decide. Think of all the words, Elizabeth, that end with CID. Can you think of any? Now we're talking about pesticide, suicide. Keep going. Genocide, homicide. So what does that really mean? It means that you cut off, kill off, in my opinion, how I like to describe it, any other option but the vision of where you're going. But when you don't make a true decision, it's like, that's the mountain. That's the top of the mountain. That's where I'm choosing to go. then all of a sudden other options come into play. Well, I don't know. I don't really feel like it. I'm not sure. And all of a sudden, all of these question marks and all of this uncertainty. And I'm telling you guys, you know this, that people choose the person. Jordan, if there's anything I can tell you, they choose the person who is most certain. That is who they will choose. And here's the scary part. Even if you were wrong, that's even the scarier part, because people will choose the people who believe the deepest in what it is that they believe in. So why do you develop? Why do you garner? Why do you you bring so much substance and belief and emotion to what it is that you're truly believing in? Because if you believe that this is the vision, like you ever hear those people? How many heard my wife Jennifer at the summit? And she said these words, if you'll remember, those of you who were there, she said, I know that I was built, created, I think she used the word, created to what? To do what she's doing. Whoa, you mean what? You were created, built, designed to do what you do, to bring love and connection and a reminder that we are always connected, even for those who have moved on or in this or on this earth because of love. Whoa, you mean like you know that? And all of a sudden, when you're that certain and you're that clear and you see the image and you see the picture, then all of a sudden, man, I'm telling you, nothing will stop any of you. There's not one of you in here who should not be earning or online, because I know there's a bunch online. There is not one of you who should not be earning a tremendous amount of money in the game of real estate today. I want to remind you that this market is as if it was 2019. And I've known a lot of you, a lot of years in this room, and none of you were complaining about 2019. Jason wasn't complaining about it. April, you weren't complaining about it. Ruby, you weren't complaining about it. Jay, you weren't complaining about it. And Ruby, I knew you, this Ruby area, you weren't complaining about it. None of us in 2019 were complaining about the market. So the home sales are about what they were in 2019. So it's an amazing market. I was telling Isaac yesterday, I said, when I started the business, everybody was celebrating that rates just became under 10%. They were so excited. So just remember that what you see, I'll end with this. It's a statement by Wayne Dyer, the late Wayne Dyer. He said, I will see it. What do we actually, let me say the way we usually, I will believe it when what? I see it. And I remember so clearly hearing the very first time I heard Wayne Dyer say these words on a little video or probably YouTube or an audio of some sort. And he said, I believe that you will see it when you believe it versus I'll believe it when I see it. If you can cast a vision for yourself, if you can cast a vision for your own life, if you can cast a vision for your family, if you can cast a vision for those you love and adore and have a stewardship for. And the stewardship you have, of course, in this business is a tremendous amount of people who are looking for you to help them navigate through the home buying or home selling process. That's the beauty of your stewardship. And the majority of what it is can you cast a vision that has such credibility, such a clear plan, such a plan of action that people go, I'm going with that guy or gal. I'm going all the way with them. It's going to happen. And they will choose you. They will choose you because they know that if you have a vision and then you have a plan of attack to get there, then all of a sudden it's there. I said I was going to end. I'm not ending yet, April. One more thing, because I just reminded myself, I got to wait for myself on this decide and decision. Just some of you write this down because it's the first time you heard. Jordan, first time you heard, write this down. Decisions are made based on me knowing where I'm going. Now you could put great decisions, extraordinary decisions, incredible decisions, magnificent decisions are made based on me knowing where I'm going. As a general rule, I will never forget when little Kenzie was just a little tiny junior hire. And I remember Jennifer saying, well, aren't you going to make sure she's home by this time, that time, this time? And as a general rule, I would argue that we have very few, I don't know, they may argue differently, Ruby, Kenzie, and Isaac, but I actually believe we have very few rules in our family. We just really don't have a lot of rules. And I've realized that the less rules I have, the more someone governs themselves. But I have one rule I will say that's important to me. And what do you think that is, Jason? To my own children, to do what?
You know where they're going.
That's it. Because when Isaac knows where he's going, he doesn't need daddy to sit here and go, do this, do that, and all the other stuff. And I'm not trying to make it silly, but the reality is if he knows where he's going, he'll decide. That's the reality. He'll decide on his own, and so will you. When you know where you're going, all of your decisions become easier. If you are committed to mastering your craft, you'll know where you'll show up. You'll show up at this, spending an entire day together, a day. And you guys will be out chasing a deal. Those of you who may not go, and you'll chase a deal. And yet, I'm a guy who's done 100+ transactions a year. I don't know very many people who have done that in my life. I can put them, probably on a few fingers. There's not very many in this company. There's not very many in this market. But we're going to focus on how do we get to our game, and how do we get a clear vision? How do we get the plan of attack? How do we make better decisions? How do we really win the game of selling real estate at the highest level? Okay. Any thoughts, Ruby? Any thoughts?
Great.
Guys, cast a vision for yourself. In my own journal this morning, I wrote down desires, musts, and want. And I wrote a list of like 10 things that I really want. Do you know where you're going today? Do your clients know where they're going? Actually, there's so much to talk about this. All right, one last thing. What time is it? What time is it? Can't see that. All right, we have 2 minutes. Just want to remind you that when you get off the mark, your entire commitment today should just be, again, to decide on where you're going. And if you forget, then you got to remind yourself. But Jay, when you get with a buyer, or Kelly, you're with the seller, and all of a sudden they start squawking about interest rates, or squawking about paying for a home warranty, or paying for some closing costs. I mean, the clients, all of them do it. But just remind them as to where they're going, because the problem is that people will fixate their focus on something that has nothing to do with where their vision is. They'll focus on closing costs when they're talking about getting their children in the right schools for them, in the right location for them, or they're squawking about a home warranty, or squawking even about a reduction of price when they've completely forgotten why they're even selling. And you say, well, they couldn't forget. Yes, they can. So Aubrey, the most important thing I can tell you in getting a price reduction, the very first thing that I will tell you to do is this. Hey, Aubrey, remind me. Tell me again, where are you going? Because you can never effectively do this. Confront another human being effectively. And man, I screw this up all the time. I guarantee you, I screw it up, especially with my kids, because I forget that I got to remind them, hey, tell me again, where are you going? Oh, okay, now I can confront you. You need to reduce your price. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Why are we not putting an offer in? Wait, hold on. Why are we arguing about a home warranty when this is where you're going? And is it worth $500? Is it worth $10,000 to get you what you want? Well, yes. Then let's focus on the right stuff, not the stuff that's going to pull you away from the very vision that you have for your life and the future that you have. Just remember, you have a stewardship for yourself, for those you love, and for those you work with. And they are expecting a clear vision from you. And the more connected you are to that vision and ensuring them that they're going to get theirs, you will be one of the great ones in this business. And some of you are already great, but I'm telling you, you can even get better. And if you want to truly confront another human being effectively, know what they want, know where they're going, know what's important to them. And man, you can come down and hammer down, really frankly, like as hard as you want. Why? Because it's not about you. It's about you getting them or helping them get what they want. It's not just complaining. It's not just whining when you know what someone wants. So don't forget that. Most people do. They just wander through life aimlessly like a ship out in the ocean with no rudder or no motor, Wherever things take them, if you say, oh, that's fun, it's like the flow of the deal. No, it's not the flow. That's chaos. And when there's just so much I could talk. When there's chaos, cast a vision. Don't forget that. When there's chaos, when there's uncertainty, people need a vision. And this business of real estate can get chaotic at times. So cast one. Okay, let's roll. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Good group. We got some great weeks ahead here. I'm excited. You ready? Oh, yeah.